Good afternoon one more time and welcome to the webinar Planning Cities of the Future. My name is Magdalena Ribaric and I'm from Odras and I will be the moderator of this webinar. Webinar is organized by Odras, the Secretariat of the CiviNet Slovenia Croatia Southeast Europe Network in cooperation with the Association of Cities in the Republic of Croatia. Before we begin, just a few practical information. There is translation available during this webinar through an AI tool, Wordly. So I will kindly ask Marco to paste the link in the chat. You will find it. You will find it there. You can open it in parallel window through the link and follow the webinar, the translation of the webinar. You just press start when you open the link, and there is the possibilities of two languages to choose. You can choose first English to have the transcription of what we are saying, and then on the right side you have translation possibilities on the language you prefer. So during the presentations, please mute your microphone. And after the presentations, we will open the discussion. So there will be time for questions for the presenters. You're welcome also to write your questions in the chat during the webinar, and we will address them in the final part of the program. As usual, the webinar will be recorded and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel and the website, of course, after the webinar. Now, when we are on the very beginning, I would like you, I'd like to ask you to turn on your cameras for a group photo. Since this is the webinar organized within several projects, we would like to have the group photo of us ourselves. So I will stop sharing the screen. Okay, and ask you one more time to open your cameras if you're able to, and my colleague Lorena will be so kind to make the screenshot of all of us. Okay, there are a few familiar faces, so hi to everyone. There are a few new faces. Nice to see you and nice to meet you. Okay, Lorena is getting the screenshots. Okay, thank you very much. So today's topic is especially relevant in the time when the cities are facing many interconnected challenges. Let me share my presentation once again, since there is the program showed. Okay. As I said, the topic is relevant because cities are facing many interconnected challenges, such as climate change, demographic shifts, changing in mobility patterns, pressure on public spaces, and the growing need to create healthier, more inclusive and more resilient urban environment. So cities of the future are, above all, cities planned around people. There are places that respond to everyday needs, protect health, support sustainable mobility, provide quality public spaces, and include different groups of residents, locals, but also visitors if we are talking about touristic places. During today's webinar, we will explore what it means to plan cities of the future from several complementary perspectives. So I wish a warm welcome to our today's speakers, Gordana, Petra, and Marco. Kristina is sending greetings from Šibenik since she had other obligations at the moment, but she was kind to record the presentation. We will discuss next how spatial and urban planning can respond to climate change and support more resilient cities, how to successfully include citizens, and in the end to hear more We will hear more about European initiatives and opportunities that can support cities in this transformation, especially through programs such as URBACT and the European Urban Initiative. So let us begin with the first presentation. Our first speaker, as I said, will be Kristina Perkov from the Institute for Spatial Planning of the Šibenik-Knin County. The institute is also part of the URBACT network, which will you hear about later from Marko. She will open the webinar from the perspective of spatial planning and the role of planning institutions in shaping more resilient, functional and sustainable cities. As I said, you will be able to pose the questions to the speakers in the end of the presentation, but since Kristina is not here, for the participants of the summer school, you will be able to ask her questions in Šibenik during summer schools, since she is one of the mentors, while the other participants are welcome to send her an email. Now I will shortly start the recording. Just a moment to find it. I will share my whole screen. Okay. So enjoy the recording and the first presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Magdalena and the Odra's team for inviting me to be part of today's webinar. Unfortunately, I can't join you live today, so I'm recording this presentation from Šibenik. At the moment, we are in the middle of the public consultation process for the new spatial plan of Šibenik-Knin County, and so I hope this recorded format won't make today's presentation feel too impersonal. I work as a spatial planner at the Institute for Physical Planning of Šibenik-Knin County. And before joining
Magdalena, nema zvuka.
Jel ga nema od početka ili nakon što sam mutana?
Ne, nema ga nakon 1 minutu i pol.
Ok, znači ja moram ostati uključenog mikrofona onda. Evo, nastavljam sa videom pa mi kažeš povratno samo.
I would like to share with
Čuje
you
se?
a few thoughts on how
Thanks.
these two perspectives come together. At the beginning of when we talk about future cities, I ask not only myself but you guys, what do we actually mean? To explore this question, I would like to start with one finding from a comparative research project that I carried out together with colleagues and students at the University of Zagreb. Under the guidance of Professor Emeritus Tihomir Jokic. We analyzed the development vision of 32 cities, mostly European cities, and rather focusing on architecture or urban design, we looked at how cities imagine their future. how they plan to achieve it, and how these visions are translated into planning practices. Despite their different histories, planning systems, and the local context, one thing became very clear. There is no single model of future city, but there is a remarkable consistency in the ambition cities set for themselves. Across Europe, we repeatedly encountered the same priorities: better quality of life, climate resilience, social inclusion, sustainable mobility, urban regeneration, innovation, and at the end, very significant one, stronger citizen participation. So perhaps the most interesting question is no longer what future cities should look like, because we know same goals, same ambitions, but how these shared ambitions can actually be translated into our surroundings or real places. So why do urban visions matter? Their role is not to predict the future, because none of us can do that. Their role is to provide long-term direction and share understanding of where a city wants to go. And on this slide is example of graphical illustration of spatial planning concept for the city of Stockholm. Those goals or those visions, they help provide, as I said, long-term directions, and they help connect different sectors around common goals and encourage cities to think beyond everyday challenges and some short political cycles. In that sense, a vision is about creating common direction. Yet, despite their importance, long-term urban visions are still too often underestimated in planning processes and in planning practice. A vision, no matter how inspiring, does not change a city by itself. To become reality, it needs to be translated into policies, into investments, institutions, and eventually into spatial decisions. Between the vision and the built environment lies a very, very complex process and more processes involving many different actors, decisions, and compromises. And this is exactly where spatial planning becomes essential. Turning a vision into reality is never result of a single document. It is a collaborative process, and it requires political commitment, effective institutions, public participations, financial resources, and coordination across many sectors. And among all these elements, spatial planning has a particular important role. Not because it does everything, but because it is one of few processes where all these different ambitions, interests, and sectoral priorities come together. Urban visions tell us where we want to go, and spatial planning help answer a different question. What does that vision actually mean in space or our surroundings? It is the process that translates strategic ambitions or visions or goals into spatial decisions. It brings together housing, mobility, environmental protection, energy, cultural heritage, green infrastructure, and many other sectoral policies into one coherent spatial framework. In other words, spatial planning is not just about regulating land use. It is where strategic ambitions are translated into places we build and the environments we live in. So why is this so difficult? In practice, the vision is often too broad to guide concrete spatial decisions. At the same time, planning and development priorities don't always evolve together. Planning takes time, and cities continue to change, and new challenges keep emerging. The real challenge is keeping the vision and the planning process connect from beginning to the end. We often think planning as a simple sequence. First, we create a vision, and then we prepare a spatial plan. But in reality, the relationship is much more dynamic. Through the planning process, we learn more about the place, the people, and the challenges we are planning for. As our understanding evolves, the vision evolves too. Planning does not simply implement the vision, it helps to improve it. This is why I see urban development as a continuous process rather than a linear one. Every plan, every project, and every implementation phase teaches us something new. That knowledge should not only improve future decision, it should also help us refine our plans and revisit our long-term vision. Good planning, it's not about following a vision unchanged, it is about helping that vision evolve. I would like to finish with one simple thought. We often spend a lot of time discussing what future cities should look like, but a vision without planning remains an ambition, but planning also without vision lacks direction. So future city emerges when visions and spatial planning evolve together. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope I was short enough to catch your eye. So thank you.
And also thanks to Kristina for sharing this idea with us that vision is not changing the cities by itself, but it gives us common direction that then spatial planning put in place. So now from that thought, we move more directly to the question of health, quality of life, and the way urban environment influence our everyday well-being. So what should we all integrate in this spatial planning? So our next speaker is Gordana Lalic from Parentium. She will speak about the way we design and organize our cities to have impact on people's health and overall quality of life. Gordana, I saw that you already shared your presentation, so welcome and please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Magdalena. Is everything okay with the presentation? Do you see it?
Yes.
So I would like to use the opportunity first to thank Odras for organizing always such inspiring events, even though we are in the middle of the summer. But when the topics are this relevant, then it's really not hard to find the attendees. And I'm really glad that I can be a part of this webinar. So I come from city of Poreč. Just a second. Are my slides changing?
No, you should try on.
Yeah, now
No, it's okay.
It's a little bit delayed, maybe. So for those who don't know, I come from the city of Poreč, which is situated in the North Adriatic on the Istrian Peninsula. And it's a city of about 16,600 inhabitants, the second largest city in Istria. And we cover quite a big surface, something over 110 square kilometers of land and almost 300 square kilometers of sea. Poreč is a very demographically progressive area. It is a city of an extremely high infrastructural and communal equipment. And maybe an information and the fact that most of people don't know, it's a tourist top destination in which 10% of Croatia's entire tourism takes place. And it's a city whose populations, due to this information, increases almost fivefold during the summer months. But the thing that we are proud of is that for the five times in the past 8 years, the city has been awarded the best quality of life for the middle-sized city award in Croatia. One more interesting fact is the fact that Poreč combines 2 out of 5 European missions, one being the Climate Neutral and Smart Cities mission, where Poreč is a mission-minded city, and the mission on adaptation to climate change through the program Pathways to Resilience. When we talk about ending climate change, we always hear that this begins in the cities. So the question is, why? Well, the role of the cities in climate change is great. We know that about 54% of global population lives in cities. They consume about 70% of energy, produced about 75% of greenhouse gas emissions. And these data are really subject to growth because we know that cities are constantly growing. It is estimated that by 2050, up to 68% of the global population will be living in urban areas, in cities. This only means that the consumption and resources in these environments will also grow. So the question, why cities? Apart from being this huge drain on resources, cities are really, when we think about it, a very sustainable invention. People in cities work nearby, which enables sustainable mobility, shorter journeys from home to workplace, smaller homes, lower energy consumption. And thinking more deeply about it shows that urban environments, if they are properly planned and properly distributed, they are more sustainable than some suburban settlements. City of Poreč has developed a huge number of strategic documents related to climate and energy, latest of them being Climate Resilience Strategy, Action Plan and Investment Plan. And over the past 10 years, we have implemented more than 40 projects in these 6 fields that you can see on the right part of the screen, which leveraged investments of about 87 million euros with a co-financing rate of about 90%. Most of you, when you think about Poreč, you think about our city as a city from the postcard, the photo that I'm showing you right away, nice, sunny, bright colors, everything like almost perfect. But the fact is that we are facing seasonality, and this is one of our greatest challenges. So being the city from the postcards, during the summer, Poreč is this, but Poreč is also this, and Poreč is also this. Now going back to the nice photo, we know that climate as well is changing. So we are well aware that this nice city is also this. It can be this, 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 and soon a skiing top touristical destination in the North Adriatic. So if anybody is keen on skiing, maybe you should consider coming to Poreč in a few years. However, World Health Organization has recognized climate change as one of the most complex and urgent challenges of contemporary urban planning. And they are stressing that strengthening urban resilience to climate change increasingly highlights the inseparable link between the resilience of the cities and the health and well-being of their citizens. Therefore, the need for a comprehensive, healthy, and resilient approach to urban development has become more important than ever. Going back to the beginning and talking about one of the 5 key EU missions under the Horizon Europe program, which is adaptation to climate change. This mission, its objective is to support regions, cities, and communities in becoming more resilient to the impacts of climate change, including extreme weather events, sea level rise, droughts, wildfires, and floods. And what's more important is that this mission views urban resilience not merely as the ability to respond to emergencies, but it sees it as a capacity for long-term adaptation, regeneration, and preservation of quality of life. More important, it promotes a transformative concept of resilience, one that embraces learning from crisis, drawing on knowledge and innovation, actively engaging citizens, and developing locally tailored strategies. And therefore, resilience is not a static goal, but it is a dynamic, participatory, and systematic approach which includes health, safety, accessibility, environmental stability, and social cohesion. We are very lucky in Poreč that we have a community-based service center, which is called Healthy City of Poreč, that is a part of the Healthy Cities network of Croatia and of Europe, which has been for the past 12 years continuing to highlight the relationship between the urban environment and human health, as well as resilience in its broadest sense. So for the past 12 years, we have been tackling topics like universal design, architectural excellence, human-centered architecture, protecting and enhancing urban green spaces, building climate-resilient cities, renewable energy in urban development, smart buildings, healthy homes, managing moisture and rising dump in healthy buildings, low allergen planting in urban landscapes, urban green spaces for healthier communities, healthy human-animal coexistence in urban environments. Therefore, our vision of climate resilience extends beyond technical, infrastructural, and emergency response measures and mechanisms, and we do not see climate resilience as a defense mechanism, but we see it as an integrated framework for development and transformation, which then combines air quality, energy efficiency, sustainable mobility, circular economy, natural resources protection, spatial planning, urban public space quality, with only one goal and one stress and emphasis for the key indicators of the success being the human health. So I took 2 maps out of our climate change adaptation strategy, which shows the level of vulnerability of the sector of health in Poreč. And we see that the most areas apart the city center are assigned red, as well as the level of risk. And the conclusion that we came to in Poreč is that high quality and effective climate resilience planning can only be achieved through systematic, inclusive, and strategically oriented multidisciplinary and integrated resilience planning at the local, regional, and national levels, which will bring then together different sectors and experts in order to build communities that are resilient to climate risks. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate.
Thank you, dear Gordana, for reminding us that actually urban areas can be sustainable despite all these negative effects that you showed on the beginning, and that also it is not only about infrastructure, land use, or some other technical solutions, but actually about resilience and health that people can gain if we think and implement and this vision that, as Kristina said, in an integral way by including all the sectors and all the necessary stakeholders. So after this perspective, we now move to another essential question: how to move from planning to practice in more detail, and what's the role of citizens in this process. So thank you, Gordana, once again. And now I will invite Petra Grgasovic from ERCON. Her presentation will focus on citizens as a key element of positive urban transformation, especially in relation to mobility, public spaces, and participation. So without further ado, Petra, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction and for letting me present in this event. I'm very excited to present over almost 80, as I see, participants, which makes me a bit nervous, but I'll try to do my best. So as Magdalena said, in my presentation, I will be offering a slightly different perspective than the ones that have been shared before. But nevertheless, it's a complementary perspective to city planning, and much more, I would say, on operational level. So the presentation is about how the transformation of urban public space can include citizen participation, strengthening political commitment, and creating impact through small-scale interventions. And I guess that most of the participants here heard so much about all of these topics. So to be more tangible, I would like to use the opportunity to present these topics through a real case example of what was done in the City Walk project. And this is an Interreg Danube funded project, which has just ended a few days ago. And it builds on the heritage of the first edition of the project that has been awarded the Regio Stars Public Choice Award. The main goal of City Walk 2.0 that I will present today is to promote energy transition by drastically reducing the energy use of urban transport, primarily by shifting from car-based to active mobility. And it gathered 14 partners from 10 countries, from which 10 partners are municipalities. Why City Walk is so special? It's about having three very distinct but overlapping pillars of action. First is street redesign to encourage active mobility and discourage car use. Then in parallel, we have the changing of the travel behavior of citizens. And then at the end, the very important thing, almost crucial, already mentioned in some of the presentations, it's strengthening the political will and commitment to implement the transformation on all levels, social, environmental, technical, and so on. The Croatian partner in the consortium was the city of Karlovac, and I could now really easily just continue with what was already started by Kristina in her discussion about setting the vision and the planning process, but I will keep this part short. I will just say that one of the key outputs of the City Walk project for Karlovac was the local action plan for energy efficiency in urban mobility. And it did indeed follow the logical process of planning and started with the vision. However, we are all aware that cities, especially Croatian ones, have so many strategies which they are obliged to do in the legal framework of Croatia, and sometimes it's practically overwhelming and impossible to monitor the implementation of these strategies and how they relate to each other. That's why this action plan did not want to add to this large number of strategies. What it meant to do is to see how the current SUM planning process addresses certain issues, namely these three, which you can see below, and then try to add, fine-tune, and refine certain measures to make the plan itself more people-centered. And of course, as always, the local action plan also started with mapping citizen behavior and needs with the survey. And so did the SUM process, which was led by the Faculty of Transport Sciences in Zagreb. I will not go into this survey. It doesn't really matter. What I wanted to show you with this diagram is that all age group participated in the survey. And of course, survey is a valuable tool and gives statistical data, but it's actually maybe the weakest tool that we have in the box when it comes to citizens' engagement. That's why within CityWalk, Karlovac decided to have a more comprehensive approach, and we worked with different focus groups in several occasions throughout the project's lifetime. So we had the focus group that addressed the needs of persons with disabilities. Then we had one with institutional representatives and NGO representatives in the city. And I like these photos a lot because they show what was the final outcome. We actually used the scientific methodology to start from. It was the methodology suggested by an urban planner, Gail. I'm sure that many of you here are familiar with his work. So he actually developed a methodology on how to assess the quality of public space based on 3 groups of criteria: protection, comfort, and engagement. And this also includes security, well-being, sensory, social contact with the space, and so on and so on. And we, from the initial analysis, took critical streets or most used streets in the city and worked with focus groups so they critically assess these streets and define what the streets are missing and what should be the priorities of the city. And then we did a similar process with the secondary school pupils, which had the most interesting perspectives. I think they are the only focus group that asked for fast food chains to be included in the urban planning. But it was great working with them. But then primary schools weren't left out. So we tried, that is the city of Karlovac, tried to engage the teachers, students, and parents by organizing a contest or an exhibition of different ideas on what the public transport stop of the future looks like. So, of course, the students drew their ideas. The parents were invited to the exhibition, and the exhibition took place on the pilot site where the new stop within the CityWalk project will be constructed. And therefore, the society was informed, different target groups were informed, and since there were many of them present, one important exercise was made. It's something that's also a part of the CityWalk project. It's showing the healthy citizens what challenges do the persons, their neighbors with disabilities share by giving them the tools and the instruments to check. Just give me a second, please. Just give me a second. Sorry, I had some background noise. So the children also tried to walk through the streets from the perspective of disabled persons. I mentioned at the beginning that CityWalk focused on 3 different areas: street redesign, trail behavior, and then at the end, strengthening political commitment. And this was a very important part of the project. In the first steps, interviews with the decision makers were made, and the decision makers, namely mayors, vice mayors, head of planning departments, and councillors, were asked different things about how they understand urban mobility challenges in their city, how they understand the concept of sustainable mobility, what is their personal motivation. And all of these things were done to design an approach towards these decision makers that could strengthen their political commitment to sustainable mobility. In the second step, a study visit for the decision makers was made. These were the same decision makers as before, so political officials from municipalities. And they voted on different potential locations for the study visit, and Copenhagen and Malmö were chosen as the best ones. So the idea of taking the decision makers there was enabling them to learn from their peers, not from literature, not from academics, but from political officials that have participated in the implementation of sustainable city planning measures. And what was great about this study trip, and that's why I have this photo, not because of me, it's to show that throughout this visit, we all used public transport. So the mayors who usually probably don't use it were now here with us in the bus, in the metro, in the tram, and we all traveled together. These are some photos from this study visit. So we had really great support from the city of Malmö and the city of Copenhagen, and they have guided us from many project sites and explained the whole planning and implementation process, but also how they interact with the citizens and how they consider citizens' feedback in building further. This is one of the places that we visited. It's called Summer Square in Malmö, and it's a square that has been, let's say, changed and equipped in the last several years. And these are the before and after pictures. As you can see, it's a very urban area, and before it was a parking lot. And afterwards, this is how the first version of this square looked like after the parking lots have been wiped out. It was very interesting to talk with the representatives of Malmö on how this process went. So it wasn't that they erased the whole parking lot and built everything at once. They took small parts of this square and transformed, and they observed the feedback of the citizens and saw that citizens were approving more and more what they did. And then finally, they adjusted or changed or transformed the whole square. But the transformation is not a fixed one. So it's not as if the whole space was redesigned and this was its final vision or final layout. They also asked the citizens for feedback on the new layout and design of the space, and some things that were not so much liked by the citizens. For instance, the lamp you can see as the urban furniture here was later on removed. And we were there in the beginning of April. These are the pictures from the beginning of April. And since it's Northern Europe, it wasn't so warm to sit long on the outside. So even though I was surprised that the spaces were empty, I contributed, or I explained it as a result of the weather. And then again, a few days ago, I visited Malmö, the Summer Square again, and I decided to see how does this square behave when there are 30 Celsius outside. And when I came, I saw that no one was using the square. It was quite hot. But then when I tried to find the seating in these bushes and in this urban forest that was put here, I couldn't find a free bench. And of course, here I could take a photo of only 2 persons from their back because people don't like to be photographed in the bushes. But the point is that the shade that was created here and this artificial jungle, it really attracts people. It really enables people to stay and use the square. And throughout the day, when the temperature was lower and the evening came, of course, then the cafes and restaurants and all of these spaces got more crowded. So it's a very good example, and I'm very, very glad that the politicians from 10 different municipalities were able to see what can be done. And of course, also hear about the challenges that the municipality of Malmö faced. So the key learnings that the politicians had is about the importance of communicating with the citizens, about how participation has to be handled in a creative way, not only in the institutionally prescribed algorithms. They also spoke a lot about how it's important to test things, then to monitor the pulse of the public, then to iterate and improve. It doesn't mean that every test or every pilot has to be successful, but it can be the first step towards a successful solution. And then again, we spoke a lot about pilots and about how, in comparison to Copenhagen or Malmö, the cities from Eastern Europe do not have funds to make giant pilot projects. But then we concluded that it's better to do a very, very good pilot, very thought-through action, and wait until you have more funds, not being rich, but just slightly more funds, than to do pilots which are, due to savings, unsuccessful or not well accepted by the public. And in very illustrative terms, one of the politicians in Malmö said, if you are to make an urban forest, don't bring 3 trees, bring 30. And that's the difference between a pilot that will have good reaction and good visibility and the pilot that will soon die. Looking and reflecting on the whole process of City Walk 2.0, the success factor of successful public space transformation and citizen engagement is in impacting all 3 pillars at the same time. So you have to redesign the streets to make them more suitable for all those people who are not car dependent. You have to work on behavioral change by increasing the number of alternatives to car, but also to raise awareness. And then, very important thing, you have to work on political commitment so all that measures and initiatives that are once started don't die with the next election. I know I took a lot of time. I'll try to hurry. So at the end, what did Karlovac do? They also had a small scale pilot, and you also have a before and after photograph here. So it's one of the squares in Novi Centar quarter, and the city decided to implement and pilot a new bus stop, but with a totally different, I would say, principles or expectations than with the previous bus stops. So this new bus stop should redefine Karlovac as the city of, as a city of meeting places. So the stop can become a meeting place as well. And also this stop is in line with the city branding. It has a story and also provides information about different pedestrian and cycling routes through the city. So it kind of becomes integrated with the active mobility infrastructure. If you want to find out more about the project and what was done, here is the link. I think Magdalena will share the presentation. And to answer the beginning to the initial question, how to plan a future city, there was a meeting that I visited recently, and one of the mayors said, our job is not to predict the future, it is to prepare the city for any future that might come. And this is what I also think about how to plan a future city. There is only a number of scenarios we can imagine, but we have to plan for flexibility rather than fixed solutions. And we have to, first of all, start with the people, because people are changing, society is changing, and then it impacts everything. So resilient cities of the future should be built around the communities they serve. And I think that's the key point I wanted to share with this long presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra, for many thoughts worth to remember, especially as majority of our participants today are actually the next summer school participants. I think this was interesting presentation for them, especially from the perspective of the case studies you showed. So, and also thank you for reminding us that participation is not just formality, but process that need to be well designed, well communicated, and adjusted when needed. There are many key points, and also, yeah, thanks for reminding on Jan Gell. I will send some literature for reading for students as well after this webinar too. Good literature to consult in preparation for summer school. Okay. Thank you, Petra. And in the final presentation today, we are moving more to the EU level and to support mechanisms available there, and for the cities and other stakeholders, but also to some good examples already implemented. And Marko Ercegovic from the Association of Cities in Republic of Croatia will present it today. And also Marko is acting as URBACT and European Urban Initiative contact point, also here in Croatia. So Marko, the floor is yours now. And also, before you begin, I just remind the participants that the questions that you have for the presenters, you can pose already in the chat or raise your hand after the final presentation. So Marko, now you may go.
Magdalena, thanks for introduction. Good day to everybody who is following this webinar. Special shout out to colleagues from the cities, Croatian cities that are connected. So, as Magdalena mentioned, I will try to shortly explain or present kind of European support that's been given to cities who want to plan their future in a more, let's say, sustainable way. I will focus on two programs which we cover as a national contact point. So one is URBACT and the other is EUI. I will put more emphasis on URBACT. You will see why in a few minutes. So yeah. The idea behind the URBACT is a program that has been launched early since 2002 with the sole aim of promoting sustainable urban development in European cities. Operationally, it's part of European Technical Cooperation Program, and it's funded with European Regional Development funds. So far, the data shows over 1,000 European cities have been involved in activities of URBACT, and also those cities have established more than 150 thematic networks. What's so special about URBACT? Of course, his main focus is to besides promoting sustainable urban development, to actually support cities to change for better, to change their practices, to change their governance, to change their planning, and so on. The main, let's say, the main way to do this is to apply URBACT method, which is consisting of, let's say, four dimensions. The first one is integrated approach to urban challenges. Basically, that means all cities who are implementing URBACT activities try to consider their environment, including people, economy, space, climate changes, and so on, in a holistic manner, trying to find a solution that will tackle different aspects of this problem. As it's been already mentioned, cities are quite complex entities, and there are a lot of things that are interconnected. Petra mentioned the importance of participation. URBACT also recognizes this and finds it very important. So basically, each city that is participating has to form a local group that that encompasses different relevant stakeholders and citizens who are motivated to also, along with the city, to find a solution to their urban challenges. In addition to that, URBACT promotes also transnational exchanges, meaning that the cities learn from each other, and the program offers a quite robust and efficient expertise support with various methods and tools that cities can use. Basically, three main activities of the program. One is networking, the main one. Cities established thematic networks. The other is capacity building through different kind of activities and events like URBACT Summer Universities or City Festival and so on. And they have a quite good communication and knowledge sharing platform. I will provide you with the links in few minutes. When we talk about the networking, there are 4 types of URBACT city networks. I won't go into details about them all. We will focus on action planning networks because those are the networks that support cities to actually plan their future activities, plan their sustainable urban development, plan for the future. The idea is to shortly present you some of the findings from the action planning networks that have been active from 2023 to until end of 2025. As mentioned before, the focus of these networks is to raise the capacity of the cities to design and to implement a better urban policies, those that are, considering all the aspects that we already mentioned: sustainability, resilience, participation, and so on. Each URBACT network also offers opportunity and concrete financial support for testing actions. And you have a constant, communication and visibility support. What is the final product or result of these networks? It's an integrated action plan, a document which provides and presents various activities, measures, and goals that are designed as a response for the concrete local challenge. Of course, it has its own intervention logic, and it's mostly based on testing actions with the idea to identify a solid solution that could be later financed through cohesion policy or maybe some national program support. What is interesting for URBACT is that basically it's open for all and various policy challenges that cities are facing, as long as it's in line with EU cohesion policy. The only, let's say, requirement is that cities need to have in mind the cross-cutting aspect of urban development, meaning that in their action plans and their activities that they are planning, they need to take into consideration the green transition, the gender balance, and the digital transformation. So let's go to some local actions. examples. This one will complement what Gordana mentioned. Actually, this is one of the city networks, URBACT city networks, that's been formed around the idea of One Health concept. The network's been led by the French city Lyon. And basically, the aim of the network is to develop tools and processes that can enable decision makers to plan and implement projects that will have a positive impact on the well-being of citizens, but also well-being of flora, fauna, and the rest of the environment. One of the network outputs that I would like to highlight is a publication. You can see it here in the right corner, which is a guidebook for city professionals that want to integrate concept of One Health into their everyday activities. So, you can check it for tips, tools, and concrete case studies. For example, Munich is one of the members, partners in this city network, and it updated its city health guideline in a way to implement the One Health approach. Basically, they establish professional teams that are exploring how vulnerable groups, children, women, migrants, and so on, how can they be protected from the impact or the effects of current climate changes, especially in the context of health issue and health stress. So basically, this is kind of approach city make to overview or to review their own policies and their procedures, so they can improve them in a concrete and useful manner. Another network is focused more on, let's say, restoration. So it's more focused on urbanism, in a way to how forgotten or abandoned places can be restored. Basically, Wrocław led this network of cities. I didn't mention, usually URBACT city networks have between 7 and 9 or sometimes 10 partners, all other cities. So one of their activities in this Green Place network was to test different governance models that have been implemented in city partners, especially taking into consideration the principle of circular economy, culture, and nature-based solution. As previous network, this one also condensed its findings, experience, and practices in a useful handbook. So Wrocław, one of its local activities was an open call to citizens, giving them opportunities to apply, to take care and manage local public area nearby their residential buildings. This is a way how to address the situation they had in a city with a lot of neglected public areas in the residential neighborhoods. And this through few cycles of implementation created a better connection of residents with their neighborhood, with their environment, but also improved cooperation between them and transformed those neglected areas, spaces into more open places, which had direct effect on social cohesion of the neighborhood. When talking about these social dimensions, there's also an interesting network called Regen, which is using the idea of sport to change the lifestyle mostly of young people, but also other citizens. Basically, they are using a sport-based solution that answer issues regarding public space degradation and social fragmentation. They used different kind of participatory formats to include young people into designing such sport hubs in their city, something similar that Petra showed in her presentation and her projects with all these workshops with young kids. The logic is kind of similar. So there's a Latvian city, Daugavpils, if I read it correctly, which used also different kind of green infrastructure and nature-based solution to change or to develop an unused wetland area in a park, in a sport multifunctional sport space, basically opening a new lake for swimming with bike parks, skate parks, and other sport facilities. Also, parallel in that, different nature restoration actions have been implemented. So I'm also out of time, so I'm gonna just run through my presentation. One interesting network is Biodiversity City. If you are interested in how cities can support better biodiversity in their urban environment, check this guidebook. Some excellent examples like biodiversity offices, climate adaptive grassland management, and so on. On the other hand, if you're more interested in this circular economy, check the Let's Go Circular URBACT network led by Munich from Germany, which also provides an interesting flip book, they call it, a source for cities, how they can apply knowledge and practices of other cities in bettering their circular policies. There are a lot of URBACT networks. Some of them are finished, some are there ongoing. I warmly encourage you to check the links on the slide. Also, there's a special part for analysis and thematic insights, this knowledge hub, which has some thematic areas that could be of your interest. Check it out, it's for free. And now just shortly about European Urban Initiative. That's an initiative from European Commission, a bit quite similar like URBACT in a way that also supports sustainable urban development, but it is more focused in supporting cities developing innovative solutions for urban challenges. Those cities can be of any size, but they also, which is different from URBACT, they also take target functional urban areas as a special, let's say, territorial area that encompasses several other municipalities, but has a crucial impact on how contemporary urban development is being planned. Besides that, the EUI provides capacity building opportunities, and it also has its own knowledge dissemination platform. This capacity building activity called peer review. All cities that have strategies for sustainable urban development can apply for this kind of support, and they can receive they can receive help from their European colleagues, which have, maybe more experience or more knowledge in certain challenges that the cities are facing. So far, there's been like 15 peer reviews all over the Europe. So it's very very motivating and inspiring event, which I fully recommend to colleagues from cities who want to improve their sustainable urban development strategies. Also a great opportunity for networking. For other EUI news and funding opportunities, check the links on the slide. With this, I will finish to give opportunity for our listeners to ask some questions. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Marko, for connecting today's topic to these concrete programs and tools and many useful links as well. So for the cities and other stakeholders present here to use after we shared your presentations and also the recording of the webinar. Now we have heard very interesting perspectives on spatial planning and also integrated planning for a healthy future and participation and European support for the cities. And in addition to what Marko showed, I have just one slide to share also for another initiative. It's Net Zero Cities initiative, also from the European Commission, and there is the opportunity to join the Net Zero Cities portal, where you can get inspired also and get to know experts or get technical support also for your climate neutral solutions. There are many different projects and also events, whether online or in person, that you can join, but also you can use tools, handbooks, guidelines also for your inspiration, but also as a guideline in your everyday work. So there will be also a link to this portal as well in the final report that you will get through email. We used the phrase cities of the future, but Petra summarized it nicely, that we actually have to plan today for the future and make decisions about public space, mobility, greenery, accessibility, and participation even today to have cities of the future. So I would now like to open the discussion and invite our participants to raise your hands or to put in the chat the questions that you would like to ask Marko and Gordana and Petra. As I said, Kristina is available only through email, but we have here our three speakers that are willing to answer your questions. Meanwhile, I have some prepared to start the discussion. So maybe we can start in order as presentations were held. So Gordana, what would be your advice to cities that are on the beginning to connect climate adaptation, public health, and spatial planning? From where to start, maybe? What are the first steps?
Well, just when you were speaking earlier, I wanted to share a thought, maybe not directly to answer your question, but a thing came to my mind to share is what is important for cities is to know that nothing happens overnight. And I wanted to share an experience, and Vlatka from Net Zero Cities, who is here, will probably know it, because we collaborated like 6 or 7 years ago on a project, Living Streets, where we closed one of our most densely trafficked street in the city center for traffic for a weekend. And we created a kind of a living laboratory for people to enjoy the space. We organized some events for children, etc., just to hear the pulse of the citizens. And we were mentioning it every once in a while. and it's now 2026, 6 years apart. We are closing that street for a limited period of year during the summer from 1st April to 1st November in the afternoon hours for the traffic. And hopefully in a few years' times, we will be able to create an entire pedestrian zone in the city center. So my advice would be to start small, but to think long-term projects, because those kind of shifts, especially in city centers, will definitely not happen overnight. And it takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes baby steps. But when we summarize all those baby steps and look back from a distance of 5 or 10 years, then if we persuade our ambition, this ambition will definitely come to life. So maybe this is the most valuable advice that I can give to cities, and not to get discouraged because there are so many ups and downs, but you have to keep your eyes on the goal and work towards it.
Yes, thank you, Gordana. And that's go perfectly in line with what Petra said, that cities should put all the effort in one small pilot that they think it would work, and that may open many doors in the future. With the limited financing, it is possible to make great changes, as Karlovac and Malmö did, as we saw in Petra's examples. And Petra, in your experience, what makes people more willing to participate?
Well, actually, that's a very good subject. And in one of your previous conferences, we had a whole discussion with the audience about the topic. So, well, there are different viewpoints on this, but my hypothesis, so to speak, is that the emotion and having an emotion about a certain issue is a good prerequisite for a person to decide to contribute and participate. And that's why I feel that all the campaigns that invite people to participate and actively give feedback or co-create within the municipal interventions should aim to evoke the emotion and sense of belonging with the people they're trying to attract. Also give some feedback or have an action that actually from which actually people can see that their contribution was important, that they are a part of something that's bigger than themselves, and that what they do actually has an impact on the well-being of them and the future generations, their children perhaps, or the persons they feel most close to.
Yeah, and in addition to that, we were talking about including vulnerable groups, and also we saw in some of Marco's examples that migrants were also included in Munich, for example, and some solutions were provided also to for them to be climate resilient. So Petra, what are some points that experts might have missed if they did not include all the vulnerable groups? So if the approach is not inclusive, what could be missed in planning cities of the future?
Yes, what we were surprised with when we had the interviews with the representatives of the vulnerable groups is one particular perspective when a disabled person with visual disability told us that they have great issue after snowfall because the pedestrian lanes are cleaned last and the carways are cleaned first, and then they have no way to reach any or shops or medical services because the tools they use for mobility actually cannot go where snow still exists. So for us, it was a discovery because we never thought about it so deeply.
Thank you. And that's actually proving once again that it is really crucial to include all in special planning. And Marco, I'm now turning to you. Based on your experience with these initiatives and through URBACT and through European Urban Initiative, how can smaller cities benefit from this transnational exchange, let's say, especially when they have some limited administrative capacity. And Petra also stressed out the importance of political will and commitment and importance to continue this work in the future. So are there any barriers for smaller cities, or are they equally engaged?
I mean, basically, on the paper, they are open to cities of all sizes, even small ones. For me, what is important to say here to highlight is that URBACT is a capacity building program. Actually, which means that this is a program that is developed to make smaller municipalities, those that do not have enough capacity, to get stronger in that sense. The main issue, from my experience, is the language barrier. Usually for smaller municipalities. Besides that, if they have a political support, and that is like Petra mentioned, very important pre-requirement, there is no barrier for smaller cities to take part in URBACT. I would even think that this is maybe one of the better ways to start experiencing European networking among peers on EU level. Also, an additional thing is that you have expert support through the whole implementation of this network and URBACT project. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have previous experience, this could sound like some hard program or hard adventure in European networking, but actually it's not. It's one of the most, I would say, relaxed EU programs. One colleague of us, a Croatian colleague that is an expert URBACT, once said that it's the best program. Why? Because it's expected that you come, in casual clothes on meeting. Because these meetings are including various citizens. So it's as was mentioned at the beginning, it's very people focused.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, the atmosphere at these networking events is also very, very important, to be open to change and to be open-minded to the topic. Now I have two short final questions, let's say, for our speakers today, since I see there is no questions in the chat nor hands raised. So first of the two final questions is, what is one practical step that every city, regardless the site, could take tomorrow to start planning more people-centered and resilient urban spaces? So one practical step starting from tomorrow. We heard many examples today, but what you would, based on your experience, recommend to the cities? We'll start with Gordana.
Always the icebreaker. Well, it's important to have the vision, but I come from a smaller city where communication with the decision makers is much easier. And without political support, we know that things do not happen. For smaller cities, I would say go and talk to your mayor.
Thanks. From talking to mayor, we're going to Petra. What's your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation to the cities would be to go outside now during the summer, not only as citizens, but also as civil servants, and use the summer outdoor events, which are organized on different topics, to talk to the citizens and how they learn, how they breathe, and how they feel about certain aspects of the city. That would be the first step, to show interest and to feel what the public needs.
Thank you. Thank you. And Marco, you have an additional question in chat. So if you combine these answers also, there's the question, can newcomers join the existing URBACT networks, or do we need to initiate the establishment of a new network and have in mind the practical step for the cities?
Okay, thanks for the question. No, it's at this moment now it's not possible to enter or to connect with and join with the existing URBACT network because it's project based. But there is possibility that next year or the beginning of 2028 that URBACT will launch a kind of special national initiative for networking. So stay tuned and follow our news regarding this. Just a short comment, URBACT is already programming for the next EU perspective. So the future, at least for URBACT, should be, nice. We'll see. We'll see. It's there's a lot of negotiation at the moment regarding the next EU funding, but at least for URBACT, as I have information, it will continue with its implementation. So there's a possibility to join some future new URBACT networks. That being said, I will offer a solution to my answer to Magdalena's question, a bit more, let's say, formal than what Petra and Gordana said. I think that having formal structures to allow citizens' participation is the best way to actually influence urban local policies. Consultations are, nice to get a feeling of people on the street, but actually, if the city opens something like, let's say, multi-stakeholder participatory working group for one peculiar or specific problem, these recommendations can be, much easier implemented in other documents, in other city measures, and so on. And from that on, things can only get bigger and better. And also, I can say that some researchers show those cities that have a better participatory models and that support their citizens to participate in governing local issues their mayors have a much better chance of being re-elected. So actually, at least according to this data, people like mayors and that give them opportunity to say and what's wrong in a city and to offer their own solutions. So you can start small, as we already said. This is a good chance for a good opportunity for first step.
Thank you. Good perspectives from all three speakers. And now the final question is actually, since this is also the preparatory webinar for the summer schools, and many participants here are participants of the students and young professionals of the summer school. So what would be your advice to young people that want to work in urban planning, sustainable mobility, climate action, or local development? Any advice? While you are thinking of this final thought, here is the evaluation. Let me share the screen. Here is the evaluation of this webinar that we have to fill in. Of course, for this webinar, to make it better in the future, regarding the topics and also the duration and the format. So please scan the QR code, but also my colleague Lorena will be so kind to paste the link in the chat so that you're able to evaluate. Also, this evaluation form will be sent in email, since I see there's a participant dropping slightly. So to finish this webinar, whoever is ready first, now the floor is yours.
Okay, Magdalena, can I start?
Yes, Petra, you may.
First of all, I'm very excited because I'm the lucky one that will actually meet the participants of your summer school this year, as we will be working together and networking together. So very nice to meet you in, I think, 10 days. What I would say is that just from my own experience, when you start young, then you think that all that energy can be invested into changing things quickly. However, urban transformation is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and one that wants to deal with it has to be ready for a patient mindset, I would say.
Thank you, Petra. I also see Gordana has the mic on.
Yeah, I had the privilege of meeting the participants of the school last year and to work with 25 very inspiring young individuals who came up with the most amazing ideas that we could never even start to think about. And the saying that we closed the school last year was that the one that doesn't want finds a reason, and the one that wants finds a way. So keep finding the way, and I'm sure that young perspectives can always contribute and make us see the picture from the perspective we never even imagined.
Thank you, Gordana. And Marco, your final say.
I mean, be open. Despite the fact that sustainable urban planning relies on same basic several principles, the application of those principles in the cities will vary depending on where you will be, you know, positioned, working, and so on. So. Be open, and whenever you have a opportunity to experiment with some smaller actions, take that opportunity. You will get many valuable lessons from it. Enjoy, yeah, and from my side, enjoy Šibenik, and I wish you success in your further studies and work.
Thank you very much to Gordana, Petra, and Marco for this inspirational thought. I think these thoughts might actually apply to the adults and to the people that are already working for a longer time in city administrations, but also in other professions. To keep an open mind, to be patient, and to take the marathon not a sprint, but also to find the ways always in what we are doing. So thank you very much to all our speakers for their presentations and reflections, and thank you for all the participants for joining us today. I hope this webinar was really inspiring to you and useful above all.